Hey yo, today there's a product that I've been wanting to review for the past 5 to 6 months. I've been using this. These are the Faces Canada's 8-in-1 eyeshadow palette, and this video is not like sponsored, none of that stuff. I just get these sent because I create eyeshadow content on Instagram, and a lot of brands send me eyeshadow palettes. And with a lot of ones which I've tried, I absolutely loved this range and the launch. So these have 8 eyeshadow pans in one palette, and there are 4 different eyeshadow ranges. It kind of looks like, I don't know, like chocolate bars. It's so beautiful. And I'm going to be including the hand swatches for each and every single palette plus close-up shots. So let's talk about packaging. These come in a plastic packaging and the name and everything is written in the front. And these retail for $7.99, but it's almost on sale for 20%, 30% most of the time. So you will definitely get it at a lesser price. And they contain 8 shades inside them. Now remember that these are all shimmer heavy palettes. So there are some palettes where they have close to around 6 shimmers and 2 mattes, and there are some palettes which have 8 shimmers and no mattes at all. So if you're someone who just wears a wash of shimmer eyeshadow and an eyeliner mascara, perfect. This is going to be like the perfect palette for you. Or if you already have a lot of matte eyeshadows and you're looking for shades to kind of add into your collection, then these are the perfect add-ons, and I'll tell you why. Now let's finish up with the packaging. So plastic packaging, there is no mirror, which I think is a bit of a con. I feel like they could have put a mirror, considering the price point. It would have been great if they just had like mirror on the top instead of it being empty. And the palettes are color coordinated, so you have purple, you have brown, you have different tones depending on what is there inside the palette. Let's talk about the pigmentation of these are so pigmented. The mattes in these are buttery smooth, which is something I absolutely love, and they're very pigmented. And they're also like layerable, like you can put multiple layers without it getting patchy, plus it blends beautifully. It's such a good matte formulation. It's not going to be chalky, and it's not going to end up skipping also when you're working with it. Now let's move on to the highlight on why I wanted to make this review, which is mainly because of the shimmers in this palette. The shimmers are to die for. I'm leaving some videos over here so you'll have an idea about what exactly it looks like, but the shimmers are to die for. They are so beautiful, the shimmers in this palette. They just look like the best kind of shimmer formulations. I've tried some of the best shimmer formulations on the planet, and these stand up to that. I absolutely love the shimmer formulation when it comes to this. Most of them are foiled, some of them are very metallic, some of them are like topper shades, so they're more on the sparklier side. And in each and every single palette, you get that combination of shimmers. These are one of the best shimmer formulations I've tried in the Indian drugstore market. So considering with their competitors like, I don't know, Sugar and Lakme and Maybelline and everyone, I feel like this is one of the best eyeshadow shimmer formulations that I've ever tried. So let's talk about the color story and the color variation in each of these palettes. I'm going to start off with the Loyalist palette. It comes with a yellow packaging, and it has only one matte shade, which I think is a bit of a bummer because I think this palette should have an other matte shade to pair it up with. Maybe like a dark brown or anything in the darker color family, so you can create a little depth with your looks. And now let's talk about the shimmers in this palette. You have like this very yellow gold, and then you have these bronzes, and you have champagne, and you have a pop of green, and then you have your coppers, chocolate browns, deeper browns, those kind of colors. If that's your kind of vibe where you like your warmer neutral color tone family and your golds, I think this is a perfect palette to go in for. This is perfect for anyone who just wants those kind of a little bit of sparkle which blends in with the Indian skin tone. I think this is something that you will absolutely love if that's what you're looking for. Let's move on to the Minimalist palette. I think this is perfect for any office goer, and if you're someone who just wants to have that dazzle with your look. It has a matte brown and a matte cream, which is perfect for creating your base eyeshadow, and then it just comes up with like pops of very warm toned brown family. They're not leaning to the golden side. These are more on like the champagne top, that color family. So these are more in the brown one, whereas the previous palette, the Loyalist palette, was more of like the yellowish kind of gold family. So I like this one because it's a little more on the neutral side also, so it works with your non-Indian outfits, and it also works really well when you want to pair it with colors which are a little on the cooler tone side. Like let's say you're wearing a green dress or something. I think this one is good for that. So if you're looking for something very sophisticated and a very neutral, nude kind of a color family, I think this will be good. Plus you get a pop of color which is like an orange in it, which you can also kind of pair it up whenever you need a little extra color in your looks. So moving on to the Artisans palette, I think this is like a baby between the previous two palettes. It's an all shimmer palette, which I think is a bit of a bummer. I would really have liked it if it had a couple of mattes in that. But the shimmers are really nice. Your lower row has more of your cooler and neutral tones, and there's one warm tone, and these two are extremely warm. They're like these kind of a very, very warm sienna kind of a color, like a burnt copper and a burnt umber. Like that's kind of your color combination in the top. So it has a mix of your warm plus your cooler tones in the neutral family. So it's not very yellowish and it's not very golden kind. And I think this will be a good pick for someone who just likes a wash of shimmer on their lid. Like you just want to pick a color, you just want to apply it. You have different intensities of your, your lighter tones as well as your deeper tones going ahead in the palette. So I think it's a good combination of colors in case you're someone who likes the neutral family and you're just someone who wants shimmer on your lids. And moving on to the final palette, which is the Creators palette, which is my most favorite palette in this range. So this one comes with one neutral, which is a pink, which I find is very usable for this because there's a lot of purples in this. And I think it kind of pairs up really well. And let's talk about the variation and the colors which are there in this. So you can create a lot of blue tone, pink tone, and pinky brown kind of looks with this palette. I personally love this palette compared to the remaining three ones because this gives me variety, and I'm someone who just wants a little bit of versatility with my palette. That is great for someone who will stay away from colors, and if you're just a neutral lover, I think those are good options for you. This one is one of the most amazing formulations with the blues and the purple which I've seen in the Indian market. Amazing, amazing, stunning looking one. This purple here is like the dupe for the Anastasia Beverly Hills the fall romance palette. It has this purple which kind of took the industry, and that palette, I think that's like the perfect dupe for that. The remaining ones are like very, very sparkly. Like this one is such a beautiful sparkly like Cadbury purple, and this is like a blue with purple which is mixed in that. And then you have two shades which is like a pop of neutral over here, and it's like a chocolate brown and a top kind of a shade. And then there's an inner corner highlighter shade which I absolutely love in this palette. It's like super vibrant white, and you can also use this shade to layer up with another shade in the palette like the pink, or even with the top in the palette. And then you have this magenta maroon kind of a color. Absolutely love this palette. This is my most favorite palette in the range. If you're someone who's looking for color and if you want some variety and you want some intensity with your look, I think you can get this one. It's like the perfect party kind of palette. Get your hands on this if you're someone who's a blue and a purple lover. I feel these are great for the wedding season, and I felt that a lot of us just go ahead with shimmer on the lids instead of doing something very complex, just a little bit of shimmer, eyeliner, kohl and mascara. So I just felt that this is perfect in time for you to know about these products, and I think these do deserve that try. Just give these a shot. They're so nice, like so well pigmented, and they're so beautiful on the lid. So try these out and let me know how it goes, and I'll see you guys for another one. Until next time, bye bye.